Do you think we've been visited before by something from other planets?
I think perhaps long ago, maybe, but there's another scenario there that has been overlooked in all of the discussions about UFOs and aliens, and at some point we'll talk about that.
Some point?
Yeah.
You tease. How dare you?
Well, it's the kind of thing where you kind of need to lay out the case, and what I like to do is basically present the evidence and see if whoever then draws the same conclusions from that evidence that I have. Okay, let me put it to you this way. How many times in the last 7,000 years do you suppose that we could have done that? To me, it's not implausible that we could have achieved flight, even interplanetary flight, more than once. Just as we have now. Because think about it. We have achieved interplanetary flight, even though only manned expeditions to nearer space, but we're sending our satellites out beyond the solar system. Mm-hmm. All of this has come about in my lifetime. Now let's just consider, as a wild, outrageous working hypothesis, that humans have been able to offload from the planet prior to the modern space age.
So at one point in time we went to Mars?
There's probably somewhere a little closer than that would have made sense.
Like the moon?
Like the moon.
Like we've been able to establish a base on the moon?
Yeah. It's time to lock me away.
And this just in is Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. Look what is happening in Vegas as of today and yesterday. Incredible. And that's not all, folks, because this is happening all over the world. It's time to wake up. It's time to pay attention. Because big changes are upon us. Not just in our politics. Not just in realizing that UFOs and aliens are real. No, the biggest changes upon us are the ones that Earth is facing.
Worrying times, but nobody thought 2025 was going to be easy. And astrology can help to put events into context and provide a roadmap for where we may be heading next. In July, I think things are about to get even crazier because this is the month that Uranus moves into Gemini, marking the last of this year's outer planet sign transitions. And I think this one may well be the loudest of all because Uranus has been frustrated in slow-moving Taurus for years now. It's about to move into the fast-moving mercurial realm of Gemini, the sign of communication and connection. Expect a massive release of tension. As Uranus moves through Gemini, our technology and understanding of the cosmos are going to get big upgrades. But this is also a transit that has repeatedly signified major transformative armed conflicts for the United States. Things are going to get intense, they're going to start moving incredibly fast, and they're going to get really weird. Make sure to look up, because the sky god will have curious things to show you, things that may just blow your mind. Welcome to your astrology forecast for July of 2025. I'm your host, Dan Waits. This is World Astrology Report, and please get ready for another journey into the past to understand the present and the future. If you've been following the news, and I'm guessing you probably have, then you'll have noticed a massive shift in tone in world events over the past few weeks. The intensity of conflict has stepped up immensely to the point where the words Civil War and World War III have been all over the headlines. And the astrological factor responsible for that shift is clear. It's Saturn, which moved into Aries on May the 25th. Saturn, as the slowest moving and metaphysically heaviest of the traditional planets, brings great pressure to the parts of life it's acting upon. and it's now operating in Aries, the sign of Mars, the war planet. Since Saturn's Aries ingress, the shift in intensity and the stakes in conflict zones has rocketed. It's been a powerful demonstration of astrology's validity, but obviously we have bigger concerns than that right now. It's as if we've entered a period of trial by fire, Saturn in the fire sign of Aries. In the United States, we saw protests in LA against the Trump administration's measures to round up illegal migrants. These protests turned violent. Trump called in the National Guard, and we saw headlines across the board asking whether civil war was coming to America. With Neptune freshly in Aries, where it was during the last civil war, astrologers aren't surprised to see that. Right now, Saturn and Neptune are inhabiting the very earliest degrees of Aries. Later this year, they'll
And I just want to point out to you that it didn't lead to any kind of wars. And there's a reason for that. This is a way for you to see and gauge that the world collectively is awakening and that we really can do something about everything that comes at us just through our thoughts.
retrograde out of that sign and back into Pisces. So what we're seeing now may be a kind of preview of stronger trends that we'll see emerging early next year when they return. Both these planets have to do with boundaries. Saturn builds them, Neptune dissolves them. And the combination of these two has been bringing up the theme of borders and immigration. Across the world, we're seeing the very idea of borders coming into contention. The first degrees of Aries are a very sensitive part of the zodiac for the United States. In the Sibley natal chart for the US, this is where the IC is located, one of the 4 powerful angles of the chart. It's a point that speaks to the very territory and infrastructure of the US itself. It's starting to look to me like the domestic conflict that's brewing in the US and in many other parts of the world is going to center around the theme of borders and migration. The theme of sovereignty and the extent to which nations should continue to exercise it in a globalized world looks like a theme of the times, one that we're going to be dealing with for many years. Now, in last month's forecast, I highlighted the middle of the month as a time that would pose great challenges.
And again, I just want to intervene to say that this is more evidence to show we are collectively changing the timeline because we are no longer headed toward the dark cabal's narrative of New World Order. We are maintaining sovereignty on our borders, each country individually, but having love and respect for our fellow neighbors, our fellow brothers of other countries to want peace and wonderful things for them as well, not just for ourselves. So, again, another great way to gauge the, I don't want to say improvements, but the leveling up or the amplitude of the collective consciousness and the Great Awakening. It's being amplified dramatically, whether you realize it or not. These are great ways to see that because the stars are in alignment to help guide us. And if we know what they're there for and we're not sweating it, worried about it, in fear of it, then we dissolve it and we move right past it. It's like flowing with the water instead of clinging to the banks, like the Hopi say. Same thing with not
Challenges
listening to
for
the
Donald
news.
Trump. I said it was a time when he might take or be the subject of surprising or shocking action. And I think we saw that playing out in multiple ways last month. Perhaps we saw that in his deployment of the National Guard to LA, which was then contested by the state of California, prompting claims of a constitutional crisis with echoes of the Civil War. And on June the 14th came anti-Trump protests across the United States that were organized around the theme No Kings. Trump's ascendant is.
And again, none of that worked. We overrode the system with our awakening just by being awake.
Is found at the very end of Leo, in the last degree of the sign, conjunct the royal fixed star Regulus. The protests began at a time when Mars was right on Trump's Regulus ascendant, squaring rebellious Uranus. At this point, you really do have to ask, are Trump's opponents using astrology against him? We also saw a big escalation in Ukraine on May the 26th, just after Saturn's Aries ingress. The Ukrainians allegedly attacked Russian President Vladimir Putin's helicopter with drones, which has been described as an assassination attempt. I've seen later claims that this drone attack was staged by Russia and denials that Ukraine was involved at all. Unfortunately, figuring out what's really happening in a war in which both sides have incentives to lie about the situation is a full-time job of its own. Anyway, the Russians responded with a massive drone attack on Kiev, and soon after that came a much trumpeted Ukrainian attack on Russian strategic bombers using drones smuggled into the Russian homeland. The stakes of that conflict seem to have risen dramatically, and Saturn-Neptune conjunctions have huge historical resonance for Russia. And then, of course, there was Israel and Iran, which are now effectively at war. I've been warning about the potential for this conflict to explode this year for a long time now. In fact, back in April of 2024, I put out a video on this very topic, and I pointed out that the conflict between these two states that broke.
And again, I just want to say, even though these things are in the stars, aligned and destined to happen, we, the people of collective consciousness, our soul energy, altered the timeline, altered it. Yes, inevitably, Trump's the one that brought peace. But because we weren't buying into the whole WW3 narrative, that helped a lot. That was a huge catalyst. More than you know, more than you realize. Because we're now at the point of peace talks. And not just there, but Rwanda and the Congo.
Into this conflict. Trump may have been in on this all along, of course. He was brought to power backed by a lot of pro-Israel money, of course. Iran responded in kind to Israel, raining missiles down on targets in Tel Aviv and elsewhere. That's it for a review of recent world events. Let's move to the forecasting parts of this video and to July, which promises to be just as crazy as June, if not more so.
And as we go through this little segment here, I want you to keep in mind the things that the stars are aligning for the potential of and how we can alter them.
On July the 4th, Neptune, the planet of the ideal, the illusory, the spiritual, and all things oceanic, will station retrograde for the first time in Aries during its current cycle. Now, whether or not you'll personally feel this retrograde station will depend partly on your natal chart and whether Neptune is closely aspecting any planets or sensitive points in it. We have to bear in mind that Neptune is currently conjunct Saturn, which is also stationing retrograde this month, and that will color how we experience Neptune. One of the key themes with this conjunction is disillusion and dissolution. Things we thought we could rely on may turn out to be less than solid. Neptune can orient us towards the ideal, which life can struggle to compete with. That sounds depressing, but you have to bear in mind that things need to pass away before they can be replaced with better systems and structures. Neptune can also relate to drugs, the arts, deception, and illusion. In a very literal fashion, floods or disasters involving the ocean are certainly a possibility. The last time Neptune stationed retrograde was July the 2nd of 2024. That day saw massive floods hitting the state of Myanmar. And here we need to take a look at certain ideas in the zeitgeist right now, because in the Asia Pacific region, there's a lot of talk about certain prophecies about events in July. In particular, a Japanese comic book artist has made some frightening predictions about events she says may take place on July the 5th. Ryo Tatsuki, who has been called the Baba Vanga of Japan, believes she is given information about the future in her dreams. And she's been drawing these visions in comic book format since the 1980s. She published them in a manga comic called The Future I Saw in 1999. In that comic, she said that a voice told her that a terrible natural disaster would hit Japan in March 2011. This prediction came true in the form of the March 2011 earthquake and tsunami that led to the meltdown of the Fukushima nuclear plant. More recently, Tatsuki has published an updated version of The Future I Saw, which includes a prediction about another major disaster hitting Japan on July the 5th. She foresees the eruption of a massive volcano under the sea somewhere between Japan and the Philippines, one that will cause the sea to boil and result in another tsunami, this one 3 times bigger than that of 2011. People in East Asia take this kind of prediction very seriously, and reports say that flights to Japan around this time are massively down compared to normal. But you're probably wondering what the astrology says about all this. Well, I'm certainly not predicting Tatsuki's prediction will come true for certain. What I would say is that the astrological conditions do somewhat support something like this happen. To be short, big planetary sign shifts are often accompanied by natural disasters. The 2011 tsunami happened on March the 11th of that year. Neptune was in the final degree of Aquarius, heading for Pisces at that time, and Uranus was in the very final arc minutes of Pisces, about to shift into Aries. Right now, Uranus is about to leave Taurus, where it's been frustrated, and move into Gemini. That feels to me like a big release, and Uranus can bring rapid, violent, shocking events.
Good morning, good evening, wherever you are across this great nation or around this beautiful world. This is Deja Brew News, waking you up to truth, one drip at a time. I am Kelly, your host with the most. And today we're going to talk about earth changes, weather changes, big changes that are coming at us. And guys, this isn't just your average storm. This isn't just your average climate change. This is something different. What's going on, what's been going on, and amping up continually, there's reason behind it. There's some science. So I want to share with you first the science, the data, to help you make sense of it. And then we're going to take a look at some of the things that are happening around the world that you're not hearing on the world news because they're too caught up in Diddy trials and politics. Let's take a look. Let's begin with this article. Goodbye to 24-hour days. An astrophysicist warns that the Earth's rotation is accelerating and we could experience the shortest day in history in a matter of a few weeks. The dates that they propose are July 9th, July 22nd, or August 5th of 2025. Now, everyone has talked about how it feels like time is speeding up. There aren't enough hours in the day. And yes, some of that is just because we live busy lives and hectic schedules and etc. But some of it is also because of the earth changes that are taking place, the solar system changes that are taking place, because our solar system itself is getting an upgrade. Our suns, plural, are getting upgrades. And on a cosmic level, also a cyclical upgrade. All of it's happening for a reason. But you should be informed rather than be in fear. Now, let's look at some more data to show you that there are very significant earth changes taking place right now. Bear with me just a moment. The internet is definitely being affected by solar energy and Mercury retrograde. All right, here we go. Oh my God, I forget his name. Earth changes. What is his name? I'll find it. I'll find it in a minute if it doesn't say it.
Dig into a little bit of specifics and potentially what I think could be leaning towards a megaquake out here in this zone. Now, the latest earthquake, and this is just a fraction. I'm going to show you all the earthquakes that are taking place here in just a second. This is just what the USGS is showing. One of the latest quakes here, a 4.7 off of the swarming region. The swarming area is down here to the south a little bit, so it looks like we are getting some further pressurization out here across the western edge, southwestern edge here of the Nankai Trough. That has been an area of some decent magnitudes here recently, with a number of fours. I believe the largest so far is a 5.4, but this extends back here. This extends back into last year as well. Again, the Nankai Trough is the subduction zone here with a number of segments. I want to show you guys last year's activity as well. This is the same region, Nankai Trough here, the kind of the quiet zone here. It is building up some steam, capable of producing up to a 9.0 earthquake. Now, the swarming area today and in the last couple weeks here, right around this region. But if you look, last year's activity, a little bit closer up here to the Nankai Trough, the western area, this region had some decent-sized earthquakes up here, including a 7.1, 6.8, and a number of other swarms out there that kind of connect the dots to our current swarm. Look at this area up here as well, across the subduction zone interface where it begins to subduct. And also back over here across the eastern area of the Nankai Trough, a number of swarms as well. So this is something we got to watch really closely here, because I do believe all this strain that's happening around it is, well, it's about ready to produce a big earthquake here. Now, the Japanese Meteorological Agency here last year put out a megaquake warning, increasing the odds of an earthquake on the Nankai Trough to 80% here of a megaquake within the next 30 years, I believe they said. And that's actually a considerably high number. I want to show you guys real quick the basically the setup here. Not that image. Let me go back over here real quick and see what I did with it. It always seems to pop off here. That's a tsunami. Here's a prime example real quick of the section of the Nankai Trough. You got a couple different sections there on the eastern and the western side. Now where did my, I guess got to bring this back up here. There's my map. This is
So while he's looking for his tsunami data to talk about, I just want to point out that there is a significance here with all of the earth changes that are going on. And I follow all of these different people who specialize in these things, because I have always known through my visions and my knowledge that I came here with that we were going to be facing some earth changes. And depending on where we were at collectively in our conscious awakening would determine how massive or less devastating it would be, right? This is why I'm always trying to encourage people to take my classes and learn how to use energy and move it, just like an avatar would. Because we can part storms, we can calm tsunami waves, we can disperse the energy of an earthquake and make it spread out if we know ahead of time that they're going to be happening. Now, I'm personally involved with a scientific study for predicting earthquakes. It's on an app that everybody can go to the Play Store and get, that's called Entangled. I am in no way, shape, or form sponsoring them or getting paid by them. I am just simply telling you I am a part of the project. This is a way for us to scientifically gauge and have the data to prove that we can psychically predict that the earthquakes are coming ahead of time, which is very important to understand. And that's why you see on my channel, there's some politics, there's some earth changes, and there's some stuff about spiritual growth, because it is all involved in the same mission that is part of my mission, and that is the awakening to all of the truths. It's very important for me to deliver this message to you and make sure that you understand there are earth changes happening right now as we speak. They could be happening to where you're located next. I am not telling you this for you to be in fear. I'm telling you this for you to learn who you are and be in power, because we can change the world. One person can part a storm that saves thousands. I know. I know for a fact. So I really, 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 really hope that if nothing else, you will subscribe and watch all of my videos so that you can learn at least as much as I'm putting out on the videos if you can't come and take the courses. However, this is not a plug for me to make money either. So please don't think that, because every single service that I offer on my website now is by donation only, so that everybody can afford it. Everybody. Because it's not about getting rich. Though it'd be perfectly okay if that was my next challenge in life from God. I'm ready for that challenge. I will take it. I will show that I can do great things with having lots of money. But that's beside the point. It's really important to share this message, share this video, get this out there far and wide. Every single person that this touches, at least in this information alone, is huge. It's so huge for how much we can actually change things and help. And you're going to see why in just a moment. So I'm going to move on now.
Number of images here. It was back in 1944. We had segment C and D rupture, and then 2 years later, 1946, A and B, without section E. Now, this section up here is really primed here for some big earthquake activity. It's part of the subduction zone, and if that goes, well, we could talk about that triggering the rest of the subduction zone there in a sequence of events. And it shows it right here on this image. If we happen to see an 8-pointer over here along segment E, well, earthquakes may be triggered here on the western side because they tend to have that.
Okay, I'm not going to bore you with all of these details. I just want to get to the tsunami part first, because what happens in Japan matters. And my point of talking about the Entangled app, that's the scientific study on earthquake prediction, is that our group has actually accurately predicted every earthquake that has happened in Japan's area in the past month. And that data is on the website or the app for you to go and look at. So by all means, please go download the app Entangled and join the community of psychic prediction. All you have to do is entangle your energy into it on the quantum field. That's it. Because we're all naturally psychic. You just don't know it. You just don't realize you are. All right, where is, I think maybe this. Yes, this is the tsunami part of it. And things that happen in Japan affect America.
Now, that's roughly within the range of the 2011 Japan tsunami. Remember when that 9-pointer struck there off the east coast of Japan into the Japan Trench? The maximum observed tsunami height in that earthquake was 131 feet in Mayako City. So, something this similar can do quite a bit of damage here, as they're stating on the map. Number of houses destroyed or burnt down looks like 2.35 million. So highly populated area out here, and it's a hazard that one has to really take into account here. The what's going on with this intense earthquake swarming.
Yeah, because this could cause a hell of a lot of damage for a lot of people. And we could help. You don't have to live there to help prevent this. That's the beauty of all of this. you don't have to physically live in the location that is experiencing these earth changes. You can just simply help. And the name of this YouTube channel is the Earth Master, just so that you know what it's called. Now, moving on to the next one. As soon as I can get it to load up correctly. Okay, maybe. There we go. Ridiculous. This energy is ridiculous right now. Okay. Let me share this screen. And this is Maverick Star. And I typically watch him. I got to figure out which one it is. I typically watch his stuff because he's the one that measures the magnetic pole moving and the impending pole shift, which is part of what's going on with our planet right now. Let me see. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Sorry. I have so many tabs open that it's hard to figure them out sometimes. Okay, this is Maverick Star.
You can change it from temperature and various other anomalies
And he's talking about the jet stream right now and how it's very odd.
we want to focus on. We're on the jet streams at the moment, and the difference between an ordinary map or the O map and the W3 is that the entire Earth has been spread out so that we can see both sides of the Earth, as opposed to trying to rotate the Earth around so that we can have a look at what's going on in different regions of the Earth. But you can clearly see when I say there's something wrong here with the jet streams. Just, an immediate glance, something's wrong. And obviously there's a more intense jet stream activity in the southern hemisphere. That's because of the point at which we are on our orbit around our sun, putting the southern hemisphere away from our planet on the angle of tilt of about 23 degrees, and then the northern hemisphere closest to our planet. If you take some temperature readings over the Arctic region, you'll see that they range from about -1 to +10, and that's normal because we're at the summer point. And like I said, the northern hemisphere is tilted at 23 degrees on our orbital rotation around the sun, so therefore we are closer to the sun because of the tilt. But why aren't mainstream media bringing this to everybody's attention? And you might be asking, well, what's the problem? The problem is there's no jet stream where they're supposed to be, especially over the northern hemisphere. It's arguable over the southern hemisphere. I mean, it's in a right state. I mean, just look at the Antarctic regions of the jet stream blowing up into the tropical regions. This is what's causing pandemonium with our climate and our planet. Over the northern hemisphere, you can't distinction that jet stream, whether it's a polar jet stream or whether it's subtropical, because it flows into both and not quite in either, if you get what I mean. It's not quite, well, I'd say it's at 60 degrees north where the polar jet stream is on the peak of the trough of the jet stream, but in the valley of the troughs, or the dips in the trough, they ain't nowhere near 30 degrees. So our jet streams are well and truly broken. Have a look towards the top right hand side and explain what's going on with that jet stream, because it's got that zigzag pattern going straight up into deep Arctic circle. And again,
And I just want to say here that I was always shown that where I live in Indiana would become subtropical after this event, after this pole shift, the earth changes, the solar event, the whole thing, I was shown that this area would be subtropical. And the jet stream is certainly showing suggestions that that's exactly what is taking place. Not to mention the weather. The worst humidity you've ever experienced, extreme heat, dangerous flooding, all kinds of things are going on. It's time to realize that this is happening. And this is happening whether we want it to or not. So, whether it's my neighborhood next or your neighborhood next, we need to understand what's taking place because we are powerful enough to prevent it in some instances and in others make it less than it needs to be. You know?
No mainstream media talking about this. And the very likely cause, I would put money on it, I would say probably I'm 90% confident in saying the cause of this is a weakened magnetosphere due to the magnetic poles reversing on our planet. And, you know, if we haven't got to the point of where we're seeing the reversal take place now, more spontaneous, then, you know, we could lose the jet streams completely over the northern hemisphere. And with regards to planetary mechanics, you know, planets do lose, you know, their weather belts. Jupiter lost its for a period of time. One of the, you know, the distinguishing two bands, one of them disappeared for a period of time. And, you know, we could be seeing the very same thing happen here on Earth, where one of our jet streams disappears completely. And it looks like that could be the northern hemisphere. It's also interesting that most of the migration distance and movement is in the northern hemisphere as well. But we do have also now rapidly expanding.
And what he means by that is the movement of the magnetic poles. The northern pole is moving more rapidly than the southern one is. That's the one that he is really paying the most attention to because in the past year, it has moved an incredible amount of miles that's way above average.
Mid-Atlantic anomaly, which is that lowest intensity on our planet of magnetism. And it is concerning for organisations like NASA. They are keeping a close eye on it because obviously when satellites pass over these weakened regions, then they are more vulnerable to cosmic radiation strikes. And, you know, so they monitor it more closely, those satellites that are passing over that region, just to see if there is any interference. And I think when the ISS, the International Space Station, passes over there, I'm confident that I did hear that they shut some of the systems down on board it. So, you know, this is where we are. You know, weakened magnetosphere leads to, you know, a disruption in the jet streams. And of course, when we look at the jet streams and where they're supposed to be, 60 degrees north, 30 degrees, you know, towards the equatorial region over the northern hemisphere, you know, we don't get either. And that is what explains why our weather is so sporadic on our planet. And, you know, it just, I don't know whether there is an interest in this topic anymore. I really don't. And the reason why I think that is because, you know, we've had, over the years, last 10 years, we've built up 58,000 subscribers. But when it comes down to it, really, you know, YouTube has become such a terrible platform because of the regulations, the anti-democratic freedom of right infringements, and then you've got the you know, the throttling back of views, the unsubscribing of subscribers, and the, you know, purposely not notifying subscribers when there's a new video released. You know, you have to deal with all that, as well as, you know, the dodgy few members of public that, you know, have got nothing better to do than just abuse someone doing, you know, science videos online. So what we did, we moved it over to Patreon, and there's no smaller fee that I can charge if I want to use Patreon as a platform. And the good thing about that is it's not being suppressed like YouTube is, and we don't have so many, people that just they get. I'm sure they get a thrill out of it, just coming on.
Okay. So be sure to go visit him on Patreon. And I want to show you something here from Mr. MBB 333. Let me get the page loaded, and then we'll get it switched over. Seriously, quit it. This thing. Okay. Mr. MBB 333. Okay, I'm going to skip that part. And we're going to go to right there, I think. I'm going to mute him for a moment while he's talking about the Schumann spikes, which are very interesting, and definitely show the solar energy that's happening. I wanted to speak on the weird energy that's in the air that's being captured on people's cameras, their security cameras and their cell phones and different things. I have security cameras on my house, and last night I turned my security camera on just to check and see if the sky looked purple, because the night before it looked strangely purple. And it's a new moon, so it's not like there's light up there, or shouldn't be light up there, making it look purple. So I turned on my camera, and my camera did this really weird flash, and it changed its mode and went from the typical night vision mode to the white light, which is in color, on its own. And it's not supposed to be able to do that on its own, but it did it. Like, it's a manual thing you have to change in the app itself to make it do that, but it did it on its own somehow for some reason. And at the same time that it did that, all the streetlights and different things also pulsed and did a weird thing. So I don't know if we had some kind of electromagnetic pulse happen in that moment, and it just happened to be caught on my security camera, but, I'll see if I can't get it off the app and onto the computer so I can share it with you because that was pretty damn cool. Okay, this is Starlink. And he's just showing what it looks like. Okay, they're literally all over the world, and we're gonna skip that because that's not pertinent to what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let's back up. I think this is the sun pulsing. Mhm. So I'm gonna mute him and let you continue to watch this pulsing because this is exactly what's gonna happen when our sun goes micronova. It's gonna do this pulse just like it's revving up to do now, and then it's just gonna poof, and when it does its poof, we're all gonna feel it. We're all gonna feel it. So the more of us that are aware of what we can do and who we are, the better we can help to keep the magnetic shields around the planet when their shields drop. Because all of this happens like a domino effect. The Earth's magnetic field goes down, the pole shifts, the pulse happens. It's all a domino effect. And if we can collectively focus on keeping the shields strong, putting a shield, a barrier around the planet, then we help to protect ourselves. These flashing lights that people are seeing all over the world now, all over the world, is an example of the sun pulsing, putting this energy into our planet now. This is an example of that. In a few of his videos, he has even taken it and moved the video into fast forward. And if you speed it up, the lights are not flashing anymore. So I think there's some type of time distortion happening with this solar energy. I'm still working on the science behind that, but I will get to it. I will find the answer. Okay. And this energy is so strong that it's not just affecting street lights or people's house lights. It's affecting computers. It's affecting TVs. It's affecting electrical cars. It's affecting street signs. It's affecting all sorts of things. It's even making some transformers burst into flames and trees. And if you'll recall also, the Carrington event, the all of the telegraph machines got burnt out, got burnt and blasted, and weren't working. But people were still sending their telegraphs back and forth because they weren't aware that the telegraph machines on the poles had been fried from the heat of the sun. And they were still sending the telegraph, and it was getting to who it needed to get to, or they were receiving back the message they needed to receive. Now, how could that work without those poles? Two hypotheses, and it's probably a combination of the two. A, the solar energy is so powerful that the electromagnetic static that was in the air was creating some type of a carrier wave, if you will. And B, the people themselves were the ones sending and receiving the telegraph rather than the wires and the poles with their own energy, because they too were also amplified. So in that moment, even though they weren't realizing they can do it, they were sending the telegraph or receiving the telegraph because someone else was focused on intent on getting it to them, getting them the message. And I know that this can happen because we tend to do things. Let me say it this way. We tend to not be able to do things because we limit ourselves. And I'm even guilty of that as well. I feel like if my computer's not plugged in, it's not going to turn on, right? But sometimes I surprise myself and remind myself that I too have those limits. A perfect example is I was going to go vacuum my carpets. I had the vacuum in hand, handed the plug to my daughter, asked her to step behind me and plug it into the hallway plug. And I'm facing the vacuum cleaner. I'm listening to her talk to me. I'm thinking she already has it plugged in. I pull the handle down, hit the lever, pull the handle down, hit start, and started vacuuming. And all the while, she's standing behind me, freaking out, holding the plug in her hand. And when I finally am in eye shot in my peripheral of catching her, she's over there freaking the hell out and going, "How is this working? How is this working? I haven't plugged it in yet." And as soon as I realized that she was holding the plug, vacuum cleaner stopped. We're that powerful. We're all that powerful. We can do amazing things. Now, back to the weather at hand. You'll notice that this is the Yellowstone earthquake monitors, and there is some very sketchy stuff going on these monitors. Very abnormal, sketchy stuff, which is true magma movement underneath the Earth's crust. That's what this is showing. Big movement happening. And I really just don't get that at all. Where is that water going? That seems like a real mystery to me. Okay, go to that one. Not that. Bear with me just a minute. Here we go. This is World of Signs YouTube channel. I highly recommend if you want to stay on top of true earth changes in visual form of people's videos. filming this live happening, go subscribe to their channel because they're great about it. I'm going to play a series of what I believe are 4 separate short videos from them that is simply covering the month of June alone. Worldwide things happening in the month of June. Okay? What do you reckon those are? The signs are in the sky. Okay. We're going to look at a few more. And your discretion is advised in some of these. Let me pause it a moment so it'll get bigger. See what I mean? Nothing wants to load right or act right. Give it a minute. Alright, I'm gonna go out and back in. Let's see if that helps. There it is. Much better. And what's going on with that? And again, I'll remind you, all of this is stuff that's taken place in June. Very definite signs of changes to our Earth. Some are really wondrous and beautiful. But let's keep in mind that in nature, typically the rule is, if it's beautiful, it's dangerous. Prettiest mushrooms, the prettiest frogs, Sometimes even the prettiest flowers are poisonous. So these wonders of beauty that are in the sky, marvel and revel at them for sure, but also respect them. And know that you are powerful enough that you can do something to help change this so that it isn't destructive and it's only the beauty. Definitely go support this channel. They do great work. Okay, I have a few more of these I want to share. This is another thing. Has anyone heard them talking about the new funnel clouds that don't actually form a tornado? We've had several of those in Indiana in the past few weeks. I've seen them myself, dual funnel clouds all the way down to the ground and not acting as a tornado. Very bizarre. Colorado with an aurora borealis like that. Absolutely fantastic. but also very telling on how weak our magnetosphere is and our magnetic pole. It's time for our Christ consciousness to awaken. Remember who you are and what Jesus told you, that you too can go forth and do all the same great works as He, and more. We are no longer here to turn the other cheek in the manner of being a sheep. We are here to upset tabernacle tables and part storms. So that we can prevent these type of things from happening. Because yes, we are that powerful. And if you don't know about it before it hits, true, you can't stop it once it's there. But you can certainly help to calm waters and people and save lives. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is happening worldwide, and no one is talking about it on the news. This is utter destruction for some. Horrendous. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having to experience this? All right, we're going to move on to the next one. And again, viewer discretion is strongly advised. What do you think? Does it look like an angelic being up there on the clouds, protecting us, sending a sign? That's what a lot of people think that is. Texas. Big changes, guys. This isn't normal. It's cyclical. It's just not normal for us. It's not something we've ever witnessed in this lifetime. And what's moving that up there? Watch this light move. That's the wildest thing to me. And the stuff that we're getting ready to watch that just happened in LA, incredible the meteorologist's explanation for this wind damage is just crazy. I've never heard of such a thing as this term that they use. I kind of wonder if they don't make things up in the spur of the moment just to explain it away. You see it? Very strange. Very, very strange. Okay, Austria. That's one hell of a mothership, if you ask me. Or two massive motherships side by side, who knows? The strange colors in the sky. What's lighting up the light blues in the clouds? What the hell's that? Or that? There's a perfect example of one of those weird funnel cloud looking things. That's not. Obviously, those are water spouts. That's a tornado. And there's been a lot of tornadic activity as well taking place over the last month. And the meteors falling out of the sky, which is also something that I predicted would begin to occur when our binary star begins affecting Earth and the Sun. And I believe those meteors and asteroids and comets and such that we're going to be seeing in high volume actually belong to the system that follows the binary star. There's one. Tijuana, Mexico. Crazy strong wind in Berlin. Knocking trees down and all sorts of stuff. Wait till you see this stuff in LA. It's unreal. It's like a sandstorm and a windstorm. And I don't even know. All mixed together. It's crazy. It looks really crazy. LA looks like a war zone. Of course, so does North Dakota here. Wildfires in Greece and Canada. Both of those are pretty intense this past month. And again, spontaneous combustion from extreme heat from the sun, from the solar energy bombardment that our planet is experiencing now. We're just about to the end of this one, and then I want to show you the chaos in LA, because I need you to understand that the news is not going to tell you this. We are the news now. That's why I said we need to share this video far and wide, because the news is never going to report on this and talk about it. And people need to be educated and informed of what's happening and who we are. Because again, this could come to your neighborhood. And I would have much rather you to be informed, or your family or friends to be informed, than to be in fear. Much like the Hopi prophecy says, we have to be able to go with the flow of things rather than try to cling to the banks of the river. So, earth changes are going to happen. We can't stop that. But we can lessen the effect. We can certainly cushion the blow. Okay, well, this wasn't the one that I thought it was, that was going to show the man that almost drove right off the edge of a bridge that broke, and I'm glad for that, because I really didn't want to show that one if kids are watching. I don't really know who's watching at this time of day. Now, let's look at the chaos in Vegas. Holy shamoles. Okay, we're ready. Here we go.
Swept across southern Nevada, shaking Las Vegas with little warning as towering gusts carved a path of chaos across the valley. What began?
I'm just going to pause that a minute and let it finish loading or whatever it's doing. I don't know what is going on with this lag other than to blame it on solar energy, honestly. This is nuts. I have really great high-speed internet and a really fabulous computer. This is nonsense.
As a dry afternoon quickly turned into a scene of
Oh my God.
debris, flying dust, and sudden darkness in entire neighborhoods. Dust filled the air like smoke.
Look at that tree, y'all. Did you see the ground? It's just pulled up like a great big rug. That is crazy. This just happened. July 2nd and 3rd. Or 1st and 2nd. I forget now. But it just happened in LA.
Across Clark County, emergency warnings rang out, with meteorologists urging people to brace for damaging winds strong enough to rip through signs, trees, and rooftops. The system's power came not from rain, but from a volatile clash of dry downdrafts accelerating through the air. Wind monitors at Harry Reid International recorded speeds reaching 60 miles per hour, while surrounding areas near Henderson saw gusts well above 70. The roar of the wind grew louder than traffic, overwhelming the soundscape as structures creaked under pressure.
See, and why are they saying that it was average of 60 miles an hour and in other places well over 70? This is a hella incredible wind. Why are they not telling really what like how fast it was going there. Because clearly it was going hella fast. And this weird dry downdraft stuff, have any of you ever heard of that? Because if you have, I want you to explain it to me. They call it some word, but I don't know that we've heard him say that just yet. And I've never heard of this term. But this blows my mind, the amount of destruction that this did. And it wasn't even really like a lot of rain, it was just hella crazy
The
wind.
violence of the gusts snapped multiple power poles
Look
in the
at that.
western and northern stretches of Las Vegas, plunging
Nuts.
thousands of homes into darkness. In some cases, poles shattered at their bases, falling across roads and driveways without warning.
Mm. Keep in mind, this is not a tornado, guys. This is just wind. Wind. In Vegas. It's just wind. I'm gonna zip on past some of this. I just can't, I can't believe my eyes. It's so incredible.
Even with little rainfall, the event triggered citywide impacts typically expected from wetter monsoonal systems. Meteorologists attributed the chaos to Virga bombs, dry microbursts that send cooled air crashing to the surface, creating brief but extreme wind bursts.
Yeah, I've never heard of such a thing. I've never heard of a burger bomb or whatever the hell he said. Never.
The Las Vegas Strip, normally glowing with lights and sound, appeared muted under the sweeping dust. Some videos showed palm trees bending horizontally while neon signs flickered behind brown haze, the streets beneath nearly deserted.
I mean, this is just crazy. It's just crazy. Okay. So, and that's not even covered at all. I mean, things happened in Vietnam 2 days ago, massive flooding and stuff. China is still getting crazy flooding. Ontario, Canada got flooding. Pennsylvania, Thailand, Mexico again today got more rain and flooding. Then there's the chaos in Vegas, you know, that's just coming out. I mean, it's just nuts. It's nuts how much is happening all over the world. And the media is not talking about any of it. And, you know, so I feel like it's something I needed to share and make you more aware of it so that you can understand what's happening when it does come to your neighborhood, because it could come to you and in the form of a windstorm or a flood or an earthquake or whatever, a volcano. Who knows what it's going to be? Hurricane, tsunami. The weather is extreme. The earth is acting and behaving extremely. The sun is acting extreme. Everything is extreme right now. It's like on steroids, right? And our awakening to our collective consciousness and our true purpose and our true abilities can and will help to quell the storms, calm the waters. Truly. I mean, this has been scientifically proven. There have been a multitude of group tests done on this, coast to coast with George Norrie. They've done group tests on this where they practice and they, help with floods or help with droughts or help with earthquakes or help with whatever, tsunamis, different things. I've been involved in several of these groups myself internationally. There are many scientists who are studying collective consciousness and the power of thought and the energy behind it being the emotion. And rather than sitting around and watching these things playing out on TV and feeling in fear or sadness for all of these people that are experiencing these things, we could be focusing on our ability to help them instead. This is a really, really important message. I hope that you're receiving this message. I hope that it's hitting home with you so that you want to learn more. And I really do hope that you share this video so that so many more people can be prepared and be ready for this. I don't want us to be in fear. Fear is a horrible thing, and we can't think straight if we're in fear. We need to be educated. We need to be informed. We need to understand why and be ready for it. Maybe it won't come to your neighborhood, but maybe it comes to someone's that you know. If you've shared this with one person, maybe that one person was the one you were supposed to share it with to help, because it will be coming to their door. Each one of us matter. Let's get that message out there. Let's grow together. And let's make this world a better place to live together. Because we certainly can. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you again soon. Okay, so check this out. I have the security camera video. Now, I want you to watch, well, first, about 2 minutes in, you're going to see all of this black and white change into color. And I do not do anything to the settings on the camera app. I'm not changing any settings. I'm simply looking to see if the sky is purpley colored. I'm watching the little fireflies darting by. No big deal. And then we're going to fast forward a little bit, and I want you to watch this area of darkness right here, because something very strange happens there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to about close to 2 minutes, because I think it happens right at like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, if I remember right. Okay, yep, that's when it starts right there. And see, look at the weird distortion that's happening. Very bizarre. But anyway, I'm going to put it back here, and I'm going to let it play in real time. Wait for it. It's coming. Wait for it. You see? Isn't that weird? And then there's all this weird distortion happening. And that blink out, right? Like I didn't change anything just now. That was just a very strange blackout. And it's still in the color format. And I don't know why. I don't know why it did that. I can't understand it. And I can't even really understand all these lights over here because there's typically not that many. And we have street lamps, but they're like, I don't know, 7 feet tall, 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall. Cute little street lamps that just go all down the block. But they're spaced out a good 10 feet apart. They're not this close. I don't know what's going on there. And there should only be like 3 through here. And we're talking 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, those neighbors over there don't all have their porch lights and their interior lights on. There's no way. I mean, this is a, what, Tuesday night? Early Wednesday morning, technically, I guess. Like that, it makes no sense to me. Okay. And if anybody knows how to slow this stuff down and put it in slow-mo, that'd be amazing because I don't really know how to do all that. But I'm going to zip this up here to... All right, where's that? Where's that? Where's that? Where's that? This. What is this? I don't know what that is. See this light? Watch over by the umbrella. Okay, let me play it. Watch this area right here. I mean, there's no street over here. This is the sky. This is the sky over here. So it's not a car. And this glow over here in the sky is the whole reason that I even turned it on, because I'm trying to figure out what's causing this glow. There's no city over there. This is rural area. So there's not like a, see this light? I don't know what this light is that just shows up all of a sudden. It's so weird, guys. Like it's so freaking, I don't know what's happening. Like I don't know what this is even, I don't know how to explain it at all. So if anybody's got any ideas, I'm all ears. Please share with me. Tell me something. All right.